In this video, I'm going to discuss about some different topic than what we discussed so far. The reason is I have seen most of newbies who come to Java is missing some basic fundamental concept on Java implementation. Especially if you're someone who starts Java with Java 7 or Java 8, then it's tend to miss some basic concept. For example, when it comes to Java 8, they have a tweak like permjab kind of a concept little bit, but that doesn't say if you start with the Java 7 or 8 you're a bad Java developer. That depends how much you keen to learn or how much you're going to explore about Java. My personal recommendation, keep this in mind, this is not the sun recommendation, this is my personal recommendation. It's better if you can read some Java 6 specification as well, at least what changed from 6 to 7, what changed from 7 to 8. That will give some in-depth understanding about the Java. And also there is a other reason I got few requests to talk about Java concept through this channel. And also I think that would better if I can help someone who come to Java with some basic concepts. I'm going to start with some fundamental concept, which is class path and JVM arguments. Why I choose this topic to start? Because this is the most frequent question, most common question I have used during my interviews. Also, this is the most common question a lot of candidates fail to answer. That because they can write a program. I understand they can. They may be a good Java developer. They may be good Java developers. I understand that too. But they miss some ground. What I'm going to talk about JVM arguments and Java class path. I'm going to discuss about Java JVM architecture in detail in future videos, and JVM architecture as well as Java architecture. But for the moment, just take your mind, Java is incapable to load two different classes with the same class name. For example, if you give two classes from same class name, identical class name, JVM will load only one class. So because always class loader is take unique class name. Now question is, if you give two different classes with the same identical class name, what would be the class JVM take to execute? In other words, just example, you give a application.class in a a.java file and application.class in a b.java file as well. In that case, which class would consider by JVM to execute? Second, if you give two different JVM arguments when you start your programs, JVM arguments mean you can pass some parameter values to JVM to help its execution. For example, heap size. If you give same JVM argument in two different places, which one will consider by JVM? I appreciate if you can honestly answer this question from yourself. Don't try to browse internet. Don't try to ask from anyone. Try to answer this question honestly for yourself and compare the explanation what I'm going to prove you. Okay, this is the way I'm going to demonstrate this. I have Java folder created on my desktop. I'm again recommending don't create your important document on your desktop, but this for just the sake of demonstration. So inside this Java folder, I have folder A, otherwise directory A, and directory B. Okay, so if you go inside, both are empty, right? So I'm going to create a same class inside this both directories, so we can see how this goes. So I'm going to create a very basic class just to demonstrate our concept. Okay, what I have done is I have just created a class called application, and inside the main method I'm just printing this is from a directory class. So I'm going to save and close this, and if you go here, so you have application.java. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to create a terminal here, and so I can see I have application.java. So I'm going to compile this. So it's compiled, so you can have the application.class, and if you execute this, so you can see this is from a directory class. So I'm going to do some shortcut version from here, and I'm going to copy this class into B, and I'm going to open this class, and I'm just going to type as a B, right? So now what I'm going to do, you can see in A you have a let's remove this for a moment, and you have a application.java in the A directory as well as in the B directory. So now again I'm going to compile this class, and see, you can see I'm in a B directory, right? So into Java, and oops, I made a mistake with period sign. So now you can see it's a B, right? And if you go back to A, and if you take you don't have a class file here, so I compiled it. So now you can see here it says from B directory, here it says from A directory. So you can see I'm in a B in this case. If you take, now I'm in A directory. Now we have all background classes, which mean I have an identical class and in a two different directories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a jar files to hold these class files. In that case, I can execute this jar file by adding to the class path. So from here, I can see I have a application.class from a directory. Jar minus cvf application dot class. I think I made a mistake with the file names because I didn't given the jar file name. So again, jar minus cvf application dot jar application dot class. So you can see I have created application jar file here, right, inside the A directory. So now I'm going to do the same thing to B, and so I have created let's see where we are. So I'm in a B directory, so I have jar files here. So now I do have two different jar files. Now we are ready to test. So now I'm going to set the class path, export path. So now you can see I have set the class path to a directory application.jar as well as b directory application.jar. So and I'm adding this to the current existing class path. Keep in mind, if this is in the Mac environment, if you're using Linux or if you're using Windows, the setting the class path may be different syntax. I think you can use some Google, and you can search in Google and find how you can set the class path respective to your environment. So now I'm going to set my class path like this here, and see. Okay, so now I'm going to move into my home directory. So now I'm in my home directory. So that means I'm not either inside the A directory or I'm not either inside the B directory. So I'm going to execute my Java class, Java application. So it says it's from the A class. Now I'm going to slightly modify my class path, right? So here now you can see in the first time we loaded A dot application jar first and B dot application jar second. Now I'm going to switch this. Now what I'm going to do is, in my class path I'm going to add uh, B dot jar application B in directory application jar first, and then A directory application jar second. So now when I try this, now I have changed the directories. Now I'm going to execute the application again. Now still you will see, still it says a dot class. So there, don't get confused, because theory says in a JVM it will take first argument, first class path jar file as a class to load. For example, if there's if your same class contain in two different jar files, whatever comes in the class path first will take execute. But in this case you can see here, the first we added the a directory application jar and then b directory application jar. So when you execute it will it printed uh, this is from a directory class. That means our a directory class file. And even though we give a b here, it will print same. Don't get confused. Theory is not wrong. What we have done is wrong because we use the same terminal to modify the class path. If you print this class path, you will see A application jar and B application jar. So when you modify this, right, you can see here the same command we use. We took the current class path and we added. So that's why, because still in the class path, what JVM says a dot application jar. Even though you said b dot application jar first, that goes after this first section, right? Because a application jar, b application jar, then b application jar. But you can see still see. Theory is not wrong. What we have done is wrong. How you can fix this? You have two ways. Either you can set this class path to empty and then uh, reverse the order, or else you can use new terminal. So I'm going to use new tab. So here again I'm going to first print my class path. So now my class path is empty. So now what we're going to do is, again I'm going to set my class path as a b dot in the b directory jar file as a first one, and I'm going to paste it here. So now you can see b directory application jar is first and a directory application jar is second, right? So now I'm going to execute my code again. Now it says B directory class. Now to make it prove again, I'm going to create a new terminal again, and we can see now class path is empty. So I'm going to paste my command, and I'm going to give the A application jar first and B application jar second, right? And if you trying to print this again, you can see it's come from the A. Now if you're going to print your class path this here as well as this here, you can see here it says the B application jar comes in a first inside the Java class path, and here you can see A is second, B is first. So what it does is it take B directory application class to execute. In this scenario, you have A is first and B is second. In this case, it take A directory class to execute. Okay, now we know if from JVM side, if it can see two identical classes from different places in a class path, it prefer to give the priority to one come first, or else if it's going to select the what comes first. So we'll see how we go with how this work with JVM arguments. To make it work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to alter one of my this class a little bit, because we want to take the process ID. To get the process ID, we need to hang this application while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a for loop. So this would go as a never-ending loop, because it's supposed to run I less than 10, but it always set I to 1. So this will make infinite loop. So let's close this and compile this over. Oops. Compile this, and if you run this, you can see it's not ended, right? It is still running. So now we can take the process ID from this. So what we're going to do is we are going to set heap size for different value, two different value in the two different places. So then we can see which one is JVM going to prefer. So what I'm going to do is here I'm going to set the heap size to 512 MB and 1 GB minus XM X 512 M as well as X M. So now it's running. So now what we need to do is we need to get this process ID. So you can use ps command. Again, this is a Mac environment, so the command may be different if you're using Windows. So you can see here the this is my command, and this is my process ID 31623. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use jinfo tool and 31623. So it will tell me what is the heap size. So you can see it take this. Okay, so it's if you calculate this, it's come around to 1 GB. So now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to close this program and I'm going to switch this. And here I'm going to give 512, right? So now I go back to my other terminal and let's take the process ID and let's pass this process ID into 31639. So now you can see heap size is changed. It's take to the height 512 MB. Okay, now conclusion. We have seen if we given identical two classes in the class path, JVM consider what comes first. The first class which is in the class path, JVM is considered to execute. But this is completely different when we give JVM parameters, JVM arguments to execute. When it gives the JVM arguments, JVM take last one. If it is the class path, it take the first one. If it is the JVM argument, it take the last one. Okay, I hope you understand the concept. So let's meet in a different tutorial. I'm going to publish different videos on some this type of hidden topics or some theoretical parts of this Java class loaders and JVMs. So let's meet in a new video.